I don't know if you guys have seen it this weekend, but Call of Duty has decided to turn off skill-based matchmaking in their new multiplayer beta by opening up an open mosh pit, taking us back to a classic style of skill-based matchmaking. I wanted to take the opportunity to talk to you guys about what I think is really bad about that. I know that's going to infuriate a lot of people, and I'm going to explain why. My name is SitRep, and if you're new to the channel, I have an entire library dedicated to improving at Warzone, and this affects the Warzone community as much as it does the multiplayer community because they're one and the same. And what I want to go over today is how I think the perception of the game has decayed from cheating. Player perception has evolved to thinking that cheating is more than what it is, and then overall expectations as you play the game, definitions of fun. So we have a lot to unpack here. I'm not going to bore you guys, but I have a really strong point that I want to make with this opinion. Before I was a content creator, I spent a lot of time watching videos just like you guys, and in fact, I probably watch just as much, if not more, now to see what is going on in the community. I get to see different styles of recordings and basically motives behind channels. And what I've noticed on the creator side is there an immense push to be the best and to be the top of your game and to break records. And while all of that is fantastic, the average gamer is just not hitting those marks. We're oftentimes getting home from work or school and we just want to relax and unwind with our favorite shooter. And that's where I want to talk about motives is the content in the algorithms that these social platforms push out help promote creators to push the boundaries and in some cases go the extra mile to get those kills and those clips that you want, which is where I understand the mistrust. I totally do. I've played against cheaters myself. I've seen content that I thought was suspicious. But overall, the average player has consumed just as much of that content as I have, and they're not encouraged by the general health of Call of Duty right now, whether it's Black Ops 7, Black Ops 6, Warzone, you name it. There is a lack of trust in the community, and a lot of stuff has been thrown at the Ricochet team and at Call of Duty. I am by no means defending them. I think that they have a large pile of doo-doo on their hands that they have to clean up. And I think the clip that was most profound to me is the other day I heard a clip from JGod, and he said that even if the anti-cheat was 100% effective, that it would take at least a year before the community would restore faith in the game. And there's a lot to be said about that. And where you get into skill-based matchmaking and how that plays into this is because the game is designed to keep you engaged by putting you against competitive players, you are constantly questioning whether or not you're up against a legitimate player. Just the other day, I posted a short on my channel, and I'm an improvement channel or an education channel where I'm trying to get players to expand their game sense and get more familiar with developing the game more than just aim and movement. And I spent a lot of time talking about that, and if you are looking for that kind of content, I am definitely the channel for you. But I wanted to take the opportunity to explain what happened in that video, and it's happened on more than one where a comment has come through and it's completely just doubtful of the validity of the clip. And it's a very normal phenomenon when you're a content creator. In fact, if you put up content that is of not high enough quality for the viewer, they think you suck. And if you put up something that's really good, they think you're hacking. So I'm kind of used to that imbalance. But what I asked myself after I read the comment was, in the midst of reading that comment, I'm looking back at the clip going, I am openly trying to get players to see how to do these maneuvers and tag multiple kills and explaining it through slow motion and in-depth detail. And to me, the player base has already made up their mind, which is really what the scary problem is in the mindset of the player, everyone is cheating. And that cannot be a healthy ecosystem. Now, Call of Duty's to blame for part of that. They've allowed some things to go on. They did not test certain things. They released rank play modes, and then the virality or the intensity of some of these clips where it shows blatant hacking just perpetuates the problem. And I run into hackers frequently, but they're nowhere near the amount that players believe. And how I think this is associated with skill-based matchmaking is if we are continuing to put players in lobbies that challenge them, which is what Call of Duty wants to do to keep us engaged, we are only hurting ourselves if we continue to tell ourselves that those players, there's no possible way they knew where I was, or there's no way that they're that accurate, when there's no way. And while sometimes that might be true, the unfortunate part about it is it's evolved to the decay that skill-based matchmaking is what's ruined Call of Duty. What's ruined Call of Duty is a fragmented player base that has very different ideals. And I personally think that skill-based matchmaking helps players improve at the game because they become competitive and they want to outplay one another. And then the argument against that is, well, you can't outplay somebody who's using a computer to think for them. And there's some merit to it, but the witch hunt to make excuses for those situations is what's continued to hold players back. In fact, I talk with my students about this all the time, is that if you're joining my coaching program and you're trying to get more kills, you're in the wrong program. The lessons that I try to teach people is to improve their thinking in the game, which the side effect is more kills and better movement. But then Call of Duty is going to turn around and put you in harder lobbies. And that's why getting 5 kills in casuals and then winning the World Series of Warzone with 5 kills are very, very different. And the engagement is there for across the board. But that split between the casuals and the pubs and the ranked lobbies and all of those things contributing to one another has ripped the player base in half, and now they're trying to water down the skill-based matchmaking in one area, which I've heard 100 people say it already, and it's 100% true. If you take all of the sweats out of one playlist and put them in the next, it's just going to repollute the pool elsewhere. So you have to do it as a whole. You have to control it. You can turn it down. You can allow more casuals into sweatier lobbies and more sweaty players in the casual lobbies, but you also have to maintain the player base for that healthy ecosystem to occur. And what I think players need to start asking themselves is not whether or not skill-based matchmaking is a bad thing, but whether or not they have faith in the system that is organizing their matches. I think that the constructive part of the community needs to be asking for less and of higher quality content. What I mean by that is less modes and less player division, whereas right now they're just continuing to strip that apart. And if they were to say offer a blackout mode in addition to Battle Royale, or when you offer ranked mode alongside pubs, alongside open mosh pit, alongside hardcore, you then continually divide the player base. And if you're doing that against a thinning player base that's already worried about cheating, it just continues to make the slices of that pie smaller and smaller so that there's less players playing against one another. And I think that that's just the general problem right now with the skill-based matchmaking, is there's way too much focus on the trigger word of what they're doing there, and it's a marketing ploy. I've been playing on and off throughout the course of the weekend after the change, and I feel like it's a placebo. I don't feel any different. Now, with the inclusion of more players, I think the pool is about to get different again, which is another thing that we can talk about in a different video. But what I kind of just wanted was your guys' thoughts on the issue, and what do you think this skill-based matchmaking means to Call of Duty? Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Keep building, keep adapting. Sit rep out.